Welcome back to the Slide Podcast, everyone. I'm your host, as always, Coach Aaron. And tonight I have got 3 of our field reporters joining us tonight and super excited about our guests. But let's catch up with our field reporters before we get started. Joining us tonight, we have Miles, the Drip King Kid. He's here with us. We also have Linus the Menace, as well as Lila Brickwall Bratcher. How are you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing good.
Yeah?
I'm doing good.
Good.
So,
All right. Well, you guys can't be quiet tonight because we're excited about this guest. And so let's find out what you guys have been up to. So, Miles, this is your second episode, I believe, with us, man. And tell us what you've been up to, man.
I went to the shore yesterday.
Okay.
I went to the water park and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did some rides.
Man, to be a kid again. What's up with baseball, man? How you doing in baseball? You got anything new going on? Are you in your off season right now?
Yeah, off season right now.
Gotcha.
Well,
Well, look,
yeah.
off season's when you got to put the work in, though, right? So you got to make sure.
And then I'm playing fall ball too.
There we go.
Nice.
Well, look, right now is definitely not the time to relax. I know you hit the water park yesterday and rode some rides.
Yeah.
And, dude, I wish I could do the water parks and stuff. But as I get older, my body won't allow me. So I need you to ride a few more just for me. But when you get home, you got to put some push-ups in, do some sit-ups, work on that core because that's what's going to push that ball over the fence. And, yeah, because right now a lot of kids are like sleeping late and, taking it easy because it's in between seasons. But this is when you outwork everybody else, man. So put in that work, dude, because I want to see some highlights as this fall ball season starts. So, Linus, how are you doing, ma'am? You just switched teams, right?
Yes, I did.
Who you playing for?
I'm playing for Athletics Gold Tambora Bush.
Oh, that was a lot. Athletics, what now?
Athletics Gold Tambora Bush.
Okay, so that's your coach's
tongue
last name.
twister.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa! I ain't heard of that's. I've heard of the ZT, and some. That's a long one. Well, how you like it?
The girls are really nice. Shout out to Coach Leany. I love her. She's so nice. The girls, they're really nice, and everything's great right now. I just had one of my favorite pitchers join our team, which I
Let's
love
go.
right now. And I just started middle school ball. We had a few games. We had one yesterday and the day before.
Already?
Yeah.
What? That's softball?
Like middle school ball.
Yeah, but I
Wow.
figured like you guys would be playing like next spring or something. So do you guys play in the spring as well? To
No.
be continued.
It's just like it's school ball, so it's like August, and then we have other stuff.
Wow, that's different.
Yeah, it is.
That's all right. How did the 2 games go?
We won our first game. Not first game. We won that first game on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's see how much. It was like, I think it was 7-5.
Mm-hmm.
And then we lost our second game yesterday. It was, how much? I think it was 13-2.
Nice.
Oh,
How
it was
you
terrible.
doing at the plate?
I didn't really catch that game so much because I got hurt on Saturday.
Mm.
But I did play second, and I thought I got really good at second because, yeah, I got like 5 outs.
There you go.
Nice.
You
There
turned
you
some
go.
doubles?
We didn't do double. We didn't get to do doubles.
Okay. Well, here was a thought that I just had because I always have some really great thoughts, right?
I don't know about that one.
Yeah, I knew you were
You
going to
have a
chime
lot
in.
of thoughts. I don't know about great, but there's a
There,
lot
I
of them.
knew it. I knew it. See, Miles, you see how she
You
picks
set
on me, man?
yourself up for that one. I
Well,
don't know what else to say.
no. Well, look,
Mm.
we have double cellies. I mean, that was a shock to me that we celebrate doubles, but now you need a double play celly. Like, we need to do something special.
That's a solid idea. You got a lot, and that one's like
Yeah.
pretty high in there. There's a
Awesome.
lot of-
Yeah, I think that's a good one. So,
Yeah.
Linus, when you guys come up with that, we want to debut it here on the show for you, okay? We're going to start a whole new trend because why shouldn't infielders celebrate a double play? Like, that's a big
True.
deal. So, and then you need catchers, you guys need like a throw out celly,
Some catchers do that.
put out celly or
like-
something. Oh, yeah?
There's a couple, but I don't really do them.
Yeah, I wouldn't figure
I
you
think
as
I try
much.
to, like, act like I've been there before,
There you go.
'cause then it's like, yeah,
See, that's
it's more
kind of old
impactful.
school. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of old school, and that reminds me of like Barry Sanders. Like, you guys know who that name
Mhm.
is? He played football. Like
Mhm.
every single touchdown he scored, and he scored some amazing, like had some amazing runs. And every time he got into the end zone, he just tossed the football to the ref. He didn't celebrate because you know what, Lila, he been there before.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What's new with you? So you starting golf?
Yeah, I started my golf season. We did a couple summer practices. We were actually supposed to have our practice today, but they were like, it's way too hot. We're going to wait a couple days. So I think I'm starting back regular practices on Wednesday and then a couple weeks into the school year, which I'm starting on Thursday. So that's
Oh, you
rough.
haven't started yet.
I'm starting on Thursday. I got a little bit lucky. I get a little bit of a break, but couple weeks into the school year, we should start our matches, just like practice matches, like 9 holes, and then
Uh-huh.
we'll start league matches a little bit later. But yeah, that should be fun.
So,
And I think I'm gonna play fall ball with a travel team, but I'm not sure yet.
okay. Just have a travel team in fall for the
No, they do
girls?
mostly summer stuff because like
Do
we're
they?
all over. We're kind of all
Yeah.
over the place, and we do the tournaments like mostly girl tournaments.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I got a question. So, I don't know that you told me on last episode. How did you guys do at the BFA
Oh, we
tournament?
got second place. So
Are you
it was
serious?
so I know, and it was like so the start of the game, it was like the first inning, I think they scored like 8 runs on us. It was crazy. And then we kind of started slowly building back up, and I think the ending score we lost by like 2. It was so annoying.
All right. Okay.
But yeah, I think we did pretty good other than that. We won our semifinals game, which we had lost to that team
Mm-hmm.
in pool play. So that was a good win. But
How'd you do?
yeah, I did good. I caught a lot. We actually have a lot of catchers on our team, but I did get a lot of innings. I played second base, some outfield, did pretty well at the plate.
Good.
So I think I had a good tournament, but
Because I know in high school ball you were swinging a pretty good bat.
yeah,
I think it kind of surprised you, didn't it?
a little bit because sometimes I have a lot of contact, but it's like harder to get it to fall because I'm not hitting it as hard.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in high school baseball they really just started to fall, and this tournament they were falling. So yeah, it was pretty fun.
Well, let's go.
I actually
Awesome.
had 2 doubles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
What
I got to show
was
off
your
the power
double,
a little
Sally?
bit. I did the scuba one time, but it was because
That's this?
that was like our team celly. Yeah, team celly, but I didn't do it for the first one. The first one, they like yelled at me in the dugout. They were like, "You have to do the double celly for the video," because my mom was like filming us on her big camera.
Back in my day, we didn't have cameras out there, so that's
Yeah.
why you won't find any clips of me playing, Gold Glove or
Yeah.
hitting like a silver slugger.
I think she gets bored if she's just watching the game. She has to be doing game changer or filming us or speakers. She got to be doing something. So she was like, "I'm gonna film videos this time," and I was like, "Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be cool." So
Awesome.
that's what she did.
Very
Nice.
cool. Well, new things for me is Glow Ball. We're taking over the Field of Dreams next month, the end of next month. And did you guys see who was coming? No? All right. You guys know who Eric Sim is? Does the name King of Juco ring any bells? Yeah, and head started nodding. So Eric's going to be there. Aiden McIntyre, Cole Archulani, and Good Tough team. We've got Rachel Garcia. We've got pro softball players. We got Major League alumni coming. It's
Wow.
it's going to be awesome, and it's going to be the first time ever that new MLB stadium at the Field of Dreams is going to be lit up under black lights. So
Wow.
we're gonna have fun. Got country music star Ben Galler's coming and gonna open the show for us, and tons of surprises. We're the people that we're working with right now today. It is pretty awesome. So hope you guys get to come. And if you're listening, go search Field of Dreams Glow event and purchase your ticket, and we'll see you at the Field of Dreams in Iowa. A lot of people ask me where the Field of Dreams is at, and I have to say it's Iowa in the cornfields. Right? Literally, that's all there is in Iowa. So anyway,
Iowa.
Well, then tonight from Fresno, California, Mr. Kerry Yo Nakagawa. How are you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm doing great, Coach Aaron, and I am so glad to be here, reuniting with Miles. We met in Philadelphia during Major League Baseball All-Star Village. Nice to meet Lennis. Lila, she's right in our valley. She's pretty close to my small farm town that I grew up in called Fowler. She's in Taft. So already I just feel a great connection with you guys. Lila, a catcher, Lennis, a baseball player,
She's a
Miles, a
catcher.
catcher.
Yep, she's a softball catcher.
Coach Aaron, I think Ted Lasso probably gave you, he needed to mentor from you because I could close my eyes and you sound just like him.
I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah, it is a good thing. And then just
Yeah.
your comments to Miles about coaching and off season. I used to coach our kids in baseball as well. And that's one of the things I would say in off season is to, champions are made when nobody's around.
That's
And
right.
if you're in the gym or you're on the field taking grounders or hitting in the cage, nobody could be there, but you're working and the other players aren't. So that's why you guys I know are all champions and are part of this show and part of the diamond and the football fields or on the golf links, wherever you may be. So
Yeah.
those are great words, Coach Aaron.
Well, thank you very much, sir. Well, look, we start every episode off with our guest. If you just give us your elevator pitch as to who you are and where you come from. And the last thing that we need to know from you is what is your favorite cereal?
Okay. So I start off with that first.
Nope, you can tell us who you are and you finish us
Okay.
off with that one.
All right. Well, you guys, I'm Kerry Yo Nakagawa. I'm a author, filmmaker, a historian, actor, and I'm really a multimedia person is the way I could describe myself.
For sure.
I feel very blessed to have uncles. Baseball's been in our family for 5 generations now. I know Miles is 9 years old. Will Drill, he's 8, and he's the one that's kind of grabbing the torch from us. We've had from my grandfather playing baseball on the fields in Hawaii on a sugarcane plantation to coming over in 1886 to California and having 2 boys. Our Uncle Johnny, he was the firstborn for my dad's brother. He became the Shohei Ohtani of baseball in the 20s. He was a left-handed pitcher. He was a home run hitter. He was a center fielder. He made tours to Japan as early as 1924. 1927 to Japan. Then there's my dad. He threw a 9-inning no-hitter for his high school Carruthers Blue Raider team.
Let's go.
Shortstop. And, we talked earlier about double plays. I know how incredibly satisfying that is when you could turn that too. And so I was a shortstop. Our son was a catcher. And now our Will the Thrill is in Little League. And they won the championship this year. So
Yay.
it was, it's just unbelievable, you guys, and priceless to be in Philadelphia and be able to take him to the home run derby and the All-Star game. And so that's one of the things I just wanted to share, that baseball's been in our family for 5 generations, and to have uncles that played with like Lou Gehrig and Babe Ruth and Jackie Robinson and make these tours to Japan and Korea and China to help develop the game there because they were banned in America, but they got to go to Japan and all these Asian countries and become our American ambassadors. So we look at a lot of the Asian players that are in Major League Baseball today, they're standing on their shoulders and really their ancestral godfathers. And many of them could have played Major League Baseball too, but they never got the opportunity. They had the 5 tools. So that's what's such a blessing with you guys is that, it doesn't matter what faith you belong to, what color your skin is. You can, if you have the 5 tools, have the passion, you could take it to the highest level and play at a professional level at some point if you want to.
Yeah. Awesome. Now, what's that favorite cereal, Kerry?
My favorite cereal. Oh, wow. It would probably have to be back in the day. I'd love to get those little, um, they were real stringy and I put a little bit of honey on it. I can't even think, wheat, not
Wheat Thins?
Wheat, no, well, it was a cereal though,
Okay. Oh yeah, that's not cereal. What am I
but
talking
it
about?
was kind of like a wheat thin, but in a bowl with my milk. That would power me up.
Okay. That sounds like Wheaties. It wasn't Wheaties?
It wasn't Wheaties. It was, they were like little tiny hay bales. Lila, maybe you could
I
help
know
me
what
out.
he's talking. I know what you're talking about. I have no idea what they're called though.
I don't even know if they make
And they
them
have like the
anymore.
frosting on top of them.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, those ones.
Yeah.
Those
I used to.
ones.
What was
Oh,
that
those
called?
ones.
I can't.
I
Oh my gosh, I
have
used to
no
eat those
idea
as a
what those are
kid.
called.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's
I would
that's
eat
my
them straight out the
trivia now.
bag.
Yeah.
That's right.
We'll have to look that up and put that in our show notes.
There
So
you
we'll
go.
see if anybody can give us a title to that. So all right, well, I gotta start here, Kerry, because you just said something and maybe just to my ignorance, I wasn't aware. So obviously we know what Jackie Robinson went through, from breaking the color barrier.
Sure.
I wasn't aware that, the same type situation necessarily was going on for the Japanese Americans. So they wasn't allowed to play baseball.
Not at a major league level, Coach Aaron. They could play within leagues of their own.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when Miles came to our exhibit right next door to us, we had the All American Girls exhibit, we had
Mm-hmm.
the Latino Legends, we had the Negro Leagues, and there's a big poster of Buck O'Neill, who really was like an uncle to me. We got to travel and hang out together with this exhibit that the National Baseball Hall of Fame put on called Baseball as America. And
Mm-hmm.
so Buck and I, we would like play catch almost with stories. He'd talk about his teammates like Satchel Paige and Josh Gibson, and then I'd throw in a lot of our legends. And there was a big poster. I think Miles and Sean, his dad Sean, saw it. It had a big poster of Buck catching a fly ball, and it said, "Don't feel sorry for the black ball players. Feel sorry for all the players and fans that didn't get to see us play." And I
Yeah.
think that applied to the Latino legends. I think it applied to Japanese Americans. We call them the Nisei, the first generation born in America.
Okay.
And, they had to play within leagues of their own because they weren't allowed to play in Major League Baseball. So, again, like in our case, they became, instead of being bitter about not playing and not being able to play with other major leaguers, they played, especially like my uncle. He played against Biz Mackey, Rap Dixon, Frank Duncan. In fact, next year will be the 100-year anniversary when Japanese Americans and black ball player all-stars played at Meiji Stadium in Japan. So two descendants, myself and Ray Mackey, are hopefully going to be able to go and throw out the first pitch at the stadium that they're actually going to tear down in a couple of years, but it's over 100 years old, and Biz Mackey is going to be inducted into the Negro League Hall of Fame with a statue. He's already in Cooperstown. So it's really nice having remnants of kind of the Negro Leagues and Japanese Americans in our exhibit. And Miles and his dad, Sean, got to see that and got to appreciate kind of what I call a hidden legacy or a missing chapter in an American baseball history.
Yeah. Again, like I feel silly having not known that, but you know what? I guess that's just a part of the history that I'm learning tonight. So thank you, Kerry.
You're welcome, Coach.
Instead of me just taking it and running with it, because I have got so many questions, Lila, I'm gonna kick it over to you. Miles, you get ready, okay?
Okay. All right, so I grew up in California, pretty close to you actually. I've actually been to
Right.
Fowler for a baseball tournament before.
Wow,
I just
nice,
want to know,
Lila.
what was it like growing up in the Fowler area?
Oh, Lila, I felt very, you and I both can relate to being country kids and, picking grapes and peaches wasn't a lot of fun in the summer, but, jumping into that ditch that was the snow melt coming down from the mountains sure felt good. And, coming from a small farm town, I felt very blessed because in our little town, I think I call it a unicorn town because we had every nationality you could think of in a town of 2,000 people. And so it didn't matter what faith we belonged to, what color our skin was. We were all Red Cats. That was the mascot of our,
hmm
our high school team. Just growing up with all my street urchin friends that I could go to their house and have the most incredible Italian food or Armenian or Chinese or Indian or Mexican or, for food from the Baptist church that I would
Mm-hmm.
travel to. We had 13 churches in a town of 2,000 people. So I don't know
Wow.
if that
Yeah,
was like that, but
we
that's
got
why
a lot here.
I call it a unicorn town because I felt very lucky to grow up with every nationality, and I thought everybody grew up this way, but until I
Yeah.
moved away from our town, then I realized, it wasn't the case in most cities and most towns.
Small farm town. That sounds like where I grew up. Because
Uh,
I'm sure you see, you guys were country over there, but we're country over here, and we sound like it. So right, Lila? Lila
Fair
always
enough.
likes to
Fair
tell me.
enough.
Linus, I don't know if I've heard you speak enough to. I mean, you're in the South with me. I mean, I assume you got a little Southern twang. Well, maybe we'll hear a little bit of that tonight. Maybe not. Maybe not. I think it's charming. So, all right, Miles, take it away.
I mean,
Time, Linus, your mom's gonna love it for this one. So, all right, Linus, give us a question.
so Carrie, how
Yes.
was it like playing? How did you play differently when you were younger? And how did that change things when you were older? Like different ways that you practiced and different ways you played.
Well, the thing, Linus, that I love, especially the film, I'm sure we all have seen Sandlot.
Oh yeah.
That was kinda
yeah.
like growing up in Fowler, we didn't have a lot of organized. We did have Little League and Babe Ruth, and, of course, once we got to high school, but, in our neighborhood, we'd all meet at the Little League field, and it had a wooden diamond and bleachers, and, we'd play from morning to afternoon, jump over the alley fence, get back home, have lunch, or PBJs or whatever my mom had, and then we'd get back to the field and play till it was almost dark, and that was our training ground, and kids of every age, and it didn't matter how old you were, all that matters was your skill level. We had kids that were 3 or 4 years younger than us, but they could play with us. I remember we used to call him Leaky Boat Louie because he would cry if he struck out or, he got out. But, he grew up to be a great ball player. And that's the thing that we loved in our little town is that, it was all comers. We would play, you know, um, just almost all day. Then once we got to Little League, and it was a little bit more organized. Then we got to play against other of our homies, we'd call them, our buddies that normally we played together. And then especially when we got to high school, then we were a force. My high school team, we were undefeated our whole season, and it was
That's
because of all
good.
these guys I'd played with since I was 5 years old. Now we were, 15, and I think we had 22 double plays my junior season when I played
Wow.
at shortstop, and
That's crazy.
so it
Yes.
was, we took pride and we even had a pickoff play. If it was first and third, I was on first base. I would walk off the bag towards second, and the pitcher would be in shock. And then we were so fast and quick, we'd get in a pickle. And if they took their eye off that guy on third, he'd score automatically because, they were trying to get me walking to second. So we had a hidden ball trick sometimes we'd use, and these things we all developed when we were playing Sandlot almost,
That's right.
So, Lennox, to your question, I think that upbringing in a small town with not a whole lot of organized baseball, and I refer back to that because my son, he didn't have that Sandlot kind of dynamic. He grew up from T-ball to Little League to, you know, Babe Ruth, all very organized. In fact, they played almost year-round baseball when you get on a travel team,
Oh
and
yeah.
Lila, Linus, and Miles, you can relate. Once you get really good, they're gonna try and pick you up and play on these travel teams. So you're practically playing year-round. So there's all it's all good, and it's, a lot of it is reflective, but to your question, yeah, I love growing up in a small town and having that kind of sandlot background and dynamic.
Yeah. That's very similar to my experience in growing up, Carrie, was we didn't have I was small town and like 2 red lights, and so we
Right.
we didn't have anything to do other than ride our bikes to the baseball field or the
Uh-huh.
basketball courts, and that's all we did,
Uh-huh.
and we played in everybody's backyard, and we played with older kids and we played with younger kids, and honestly,
Right.
it just made us get better. And
Absolutely.
It's unfortunate. I wish these kids were able to grow up in similar fashion like that, but
Mm,
times have changed, and
yeah,
now
different
some of these
world.
kids are playing more games than MLB players. So,
That's right.
all right,
Yes.
Miles, you ready?
Yep.
All right, man, let us have it.
Hey, Kerry, how long have you played baseball for?
Wow, Miles. You know what? I think I'm still playing.
There you go.
I'm 72. I was the class of 72. This year I turned 72, but I just have a rubber arm. I'm so lucky that I remember just doing BP with our son from Little League to Babe Ruth to high school. We get out to the batting cage. I was always able to throw strikes. Even when I was coaching Little League, I was 10 players and 5 minutes each. And I'm throwing 150, 200 pitches, but never got a sore arm. So,
Wow.
I still feel that I can still play. I don't know if my body is going to react to it. I still love playing catch whenever I can throw my mitt on and, get in the backyard with our grandson, Will the Thrill, and watch him play or warm him up before a game.
Mm-hmm.
So I know this October 17th at Manzanar, they rebuilt the field in California, and a lot of these players. I think the oldest player there is 70, and so I still feel that I can grab grounders like a shortstop and throw sidearm if I have to make a double play or over the top if I'm in the hole. But it's something that never leaves you, So that's why I think it's a sport that, although my specialty with my wife is singles tennis right now, but I still love playing, all the games I used to play, even if it's tossing around a football. Baseball has been in our family for 5 generations, but football's been in our family for 3. My dad played with a football helmet that didn't even have a face mask. It was
Yeah.
just a leather cap, and he played in the 20s. And then I played all the way through high school to junior college. I was real proud of our JUCO, our junior college, Reedley College. We were the Tigers, and Josh Allen, who's the quarterback for the Buffalo Bills,
Mm-hmm.
into our junior college. And so he's one of our
Awesome.
favorite sons
That's
for
fun.
our football team. And then for me to be able to play on the Fresno Bandits, we were national champion, semi-pro football team, and I got to get 2 quarterback sacks in the All-Star game as a free safety. That to me was probably one of the highlights of my football career. One of the highlights of my baseball was getting the MVP trophy from Brooks Robinson at a fantasy baseball camp back in 2006. And he was the
Wow.
human vacuum cleaner in Major League Baseball, Lila and
Mm-hmm.
Lennis and Miles. And he was my hero, even though I was a Giants fan, just seeing him at third base scoop up every ball that, was just ripped at him, and he would take it and was so smooth and a great hitter. And so for me to not only meet him, to have him be our coach, along with not just Brooks, but Frank Robinson, to have 2 Hall of Fame
Wow.
Oriole players be our coaches. And then Pete Rose was a coach for the Reds, and Dale Murphy on the Atlanta Braves
Yeah.
fantasy team. So I'm just kind of sharing you my football and my baseball highlights, and so it's really been a special one. So mentally, I like the Clint Eastwood philosophy that you just got to keep that old man or old women from getting in. And even though from my age standpoint, chronologically, I might sound like it's up in age, but mentally, I'm right with you guys as ball players. Hopefully you guys keep that philosophy too, that, just play as hard as you can, enjoy the game, whatever passion you have for it, because at some point, if you have to step away from it, all you're going to have is memories. So
That's right.
take all those, you know, training and all that passion and tools that you have and are going to continue to develop, because I got faster after I got out of high school. Once I got to JUCO and junior college, I was running 4.5, 4.6 40s, and I never could run that in high school. So
Wow.
realize even when you get out of high school, you're going to even develop even more as an athlete. And so thank you, Miles, for that question. I kind of drifted a little bit,
No,
but
that was great. Because now I want to ask so many more questions about that. So, all right, you're a big Giants fan. So I know where your grandson gets the Will the Thrill from, right? Will Clark,
Okay.
right?
Yep.
Yep. All right.
Yep.
So I grew up like so the first year I watched baseball was 1988. So I was an A's fan.
Okay.
So I was watching the 89 World Series. Oh, whatever, Lila. I was watching that World Series when the earthquake happened.
That's
And
right.
like that was, well, I guess you were in the area at that
Yeah.
time,
Well,
right?
at that time, we were in San Gabriel, Southern California,
Okay.
but
Okay.
I'll never forget series, we called it, because, man, I mean, after that, the A's were just world beaters, and I don't think the Giants won another game after that, but
That was, yeah. Well,
that was shocking.
from my side, that was a great series, of course. But then, you know what,
Right.
Kerry, the following year, we were back in the World Series, and I'm thinking we're about to sweep the Reds.
Right.
Nope.
Yeah.
We got swept. So,
Yeah.
you know, that's sports. It comes
Yeah,
back on you. So,
it is.
all right, I do got a question though. So I watch a lot of these videos, and you get to see a lot of these Japanese coaches, and they train so differently than
Mhm.
how, you know, American baseball coaches, let's just say. Some adapt to those things, but like, do you feel like that's what gives, you know, the players, you know, that edge is just how they train?
I think so, Coach Aaron, because you know, I got to see it up close back in 1999. I was at the Koshien baseball tournament, high school
Hmm.
baseball tournament in Japan, and I saw this young kid because I had a media pass, and my uncle had played in that Koshien Stadium in 1924. So they wanted me as a descendant to be there, right there behind the, you know, in the backstop, right there behind home plate.
Hmm.
This kid came out in the semifinals and threw 17 innings, and he,
Cow.
in the semifinal, then in the next game, you know, if I was the dad, I'd wanna strangle the coach to let my son
Yeah.
throw 17 innings and 256 pitches,
What?
but
Right.
because I had a media pass, I got to go behind the scenes in their locker room, and immediately they had acupressure massagers working on the pitchers and the catchers. And then so the semifinal game, he doesn't pitch, but in Japan they go 9 innings. They don't go 7 like here in the United States.
Right.
They ran him out there and 1, 2, 3, he strikes out the side. They come up, score 2 or 3 runs, and get to the finals. Well, I thought, man, this poor kid's arm is going to fall off. Guess who they run out there for the finals? Isuke Matsuzaka went out through
Wow.
a 9 inning no hitter shutout, 3-0. And later he becomes a pitcher to help the Boston Red Sox win a World Series for the first time.
That's right.
One of the things that I observed was their post-game stretching and cool down is more intense than our American pregame warm-ups.
Really.
There's an unbelievable philosophy for them to use that arm, if you're a pitcher or catcher, as a muscle. So instead of backing off pitchers like we do here in the States a lot of times, in Japan, they really work them even harder. They, in their high school dormitories, there isn't any janitors. So the players have to clean the bathrooms. They have to sweep the floors. I heard, and it doesn't, you know, it really makes sense. They said Shohei Otani, when he would have bathroom duties, he would clean that toilet, sparkling clean, and the floors, and his attention to detail was for a toilet as it is when he goes to the mound in the major leagues or he's
I
up at
love
the
it.
bat. So I think this philosophy is so different than ours, but I think that's why you see the teams from Japan from a little league level to a Babe Ruth level to a high school level to a college to the pros, their attention to detail and their fundamentals are always going to be so solid. And I think a lot of people wonder, well, aren't they going to be sad that they're going to lose Ichiro or Matsuzaka or Otani or Murakami now, a home run
Hmm.
hitter for the White Sox? They just reload because they've got so many players from every level on up that keep getting better. They'll just get new all stars. And So it's something that, we realize now baseball has become an international sport. It's just not,
Hmm.
there's players from all over the world competing. So you really, as an American ball player, have to work even harder to get to that show or get to that level because you're competing against other all-stars from around this globe that want it just as badly or they want to get out of their situation and become, superstars at a major league level.
Let me ask you kids something. So he said Shohei Otani had bathroom duty and he cleaned the toilets spotless. What is that? Like, what does that tell you? Like, I'm just curious. Like, what goes through your mind when you think about that? What do you think, Lila?
That he's very meticulous with everything he does. He wants to do everything perfect, and just his
Okay.
attention to detail is good.
Okay. Lennis, what do you hear when you hear that?
Pretty much what she all said. Like she like set it out perfectly.
Okay. Miles, you hear anything different from that?
Same.
Same? All right. Next time I'm gonna go to you first, Miles, because that's what all the kids in class are saying. Hey, she took my answer. You know what I heard is any job you would give him, as small as cleaning a toilet, he takes pride in his work, right? And
Right.
so if he puts his name on it, it's going to be done the way it's expected to be done, right? Now, here's the challenge, because I bet since he took so much pride in that, he does it with every part of his life, right? You know how when mom's like, clean up your room and you just throw some stuff under the bed and you're like, yep, it's clean, right? Think
I don't
about it.
have it under the bed. I got a trundle bed. I have to put
Well,
everything away, actually.
well, you find somewhere to hide it, Lyle. There is no doubt about it.
No, my room's clean. I don't want to hear it.
Okay. All right. Well, you're the exception to the rule. But here's the thing, so many kids, and maybe you guys are listening at home, but, as you grow up, it's about how much pride do you take in what you're asked to do or what your responsibilities are, right? As something as simple as, or as nasty as cleaning a toilet. Who wants to do that? But you know what? If you're asked to do something, do it to the best of your ability. All right. Because,
Yep.
and here, I'll finish this little soapbox with saying this. There's so many kids get these part time jobs as you guys get older, and they're like, this isn't my career. I'm not going to take it. I'm not going to take it serious. Right. The key is we got to find the person who takes that job serious as well as the next one, and they will be successful in life. So, that was great point, Kerry, and I just want to make sure that hits home with some of our people out there. What's the next question you got for Kerry? Okay. All right, Lila, what you got? Miles, you be ready.
So you started researching Japanese American baseball when you were coaching your son's little league team. What made you want to start learning more about the history?
Well, Lila, this was 32 years ago. This was 1994. My son Kale was a catcher and they won the championship in Kingsburg and maybe even played there too. But I saw the back of his jersey. It said Nakagawa. And then his teammate, Brandon Zenimura, had Zenimura written on the back of his. And immediately it was like a light bulb went off or epiphany or
Yep.
it was something that I went, man, these two 10-year-old all-stars have no clue. And I went right back to this image of my dad, my Uncle Johnny, my dad's brother, standing next to Lou Gehrig and Babe Ruth and Kenichi Zenimura. I grew up with this photo of Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig in 1927. They came to Fresno and they did an 8-city tour, and my uncle was on Lou Gehrig's team with his Nisei teammates, and they thundered Babe Ruth All-Stars 13-3 on October 29th, 1927. So this picture was hanging on our wall in our little house, and I remember thinking, man, how many kids can say that their uncle played with Lou Gehrig and Babe Ruth and beat
I
Babe
got
Ruth?
cold chills. That's amazing. That's so awesome.
And so that's what this epiphany took me to see my son and Brandon, who his great grandfather was in that photo as well. I knew they, as fourth generation Japanese American kids, had no clue about our baseball history. So right at that moment, Lila, I knew that I had to research more and bring more out and And so I accumulated more images and artifacts. Following year, the Fresno Art Museum had an exhibit on Japanese culture. And so I was able to have about the size of a Little League dugout and exhibit. And the first day that it opened, we had 1,000 people come through. So then I knew again that this was much more than just a Zenimura Nakagawa baseball story. This was a national story and possibly a world story. And sure enough, eventually our exhibit got to the Baseball Hall of Fame, and in 1998 and 1999, it went to the Japan Baseball Hall of Fame in Tokyo. Last year, we were in Tokyo again for the Cubs Dodgers series, and we were able to put up our exhibit again. So it really got a rebirth after COVID, and so now we're able to share our story with many, many other families around the world. So thank you for that question. And that's kind of how the genesis started.
That was a good question, Lila. I will give you credit there. I
You
don't
know
clap
what?
for you too much, but that's a good one.
That's a standing O.
There it is. There we go. All right, Linus, you loaded up.
Yeah, I got one.
All right, let's go.
So, Kerry,
Yes.
what made you, when you were younger, what made you want to play baseball and continue to do that? And after you had all your baseball, what made you want to coach your son?
Well, Linus, I think it really started with our family playing catch with my dad in the backyard and my Uncle Johnny. And them being so modest, their generation, they never really bragged about their abilities. My dad never told me he threw a no-hitter. My Uncle Johnny never told me he was the Babe Ruth of the Nisei. That love of the game of playing catch, and then going out into the neighborhood with my other homies and playing and all day long. And then as I kind of continued to grow in the sport and get better, and again, that teamwork and that ability to kind of gel with the people you grew up with made me want to hopefully get to the highest level as I could. So that's where I took it from, not just baseball but also football. And even now, when I play tennis, it's amazing. I'm 72, but I'm playing the best singles tennis of my life right now, and same with my wife. If you can pick a sport, Lila, with golf, you can pretty much play your whole life. There's a guy out at Roding Park. He's 96 and he's playing doubles tennis. We call him
Yeah.
Wow.
Hawaiian Bob. And so that's the beauty of sports. It really, you could play it once you find your passion, and whatever the sport you choose, you just learn and keep developing your tools and keep developing that passion and take it as far as you can.
Love it. Love it. Good question, Linus. Good shot. Miles, you got one?
Yeah, so Kerry,
Mhm.
so Kerry, what was your favorite position in baseball?
My position, Miles, was shortstop. I had a really strong arm in the hole. I could throw sidearm, so I could, be able to get that double play if the runner was right in front of me. And again, just kind of going back to great players that I got to see growing up. Here in Fresno, we had the single A giants. So I got to see Bobby Bonds. I got to see Will Clark. I got to see so many great ball players. And so not only just playing with my fellow teammates, but I got to see at a single A level professionals play. And we had a little hole in the fence, and uh, one night we would hang out in the back part of the street, and if you got a home run ball, you could take it back in, and they would announce, if you bring that ball in, kids, you get a free soda. Well, none of us would give up that ball for a soda. And
There you
I
go.
remember after the game, I saw the biggest, tallest Japanese baseball player ever, and his name was Masanori Murakami, and he played for the Single A Giants, and he signed my baseball. And then how special was it 50 years later when the Giants honored Masanori Murakami as the first player from Japan to play in major leagues? He signed my ball again because I got to be his catcher at Pac-Ball Ballpark.
Wow.
That's
So that,
crazy.
was, yeah, a special evening for me to sit behind where I knew that Duster Posey, sat up, and Barry Bonds would hit splash hits right from that little area that I set up to catch. And Murakami at 70 years old on the rubber threw me a strike. So that
Yeah,
was
good.
incredible too. But yeah, I was always a shortstop, Miles. But I probably could probably play every position.
You know what
And
just clicked? Like all three of these kids are catchers.
That's what I mean. Yeah, right.
Like
And my
see,
it
son
just
was a catcher. Yeah.
like it just dawned Miles. I was sitting here thinking, and I'm like, Miles is a catcher too. Like
Hmm.
we we always attract catchers. Maybe it's just what I look for in kids, and I look for things that catchers have. Because you guys do the dirty work. So
Right.
all right,
And you're the
I got
field generals. You're the field generals of behind the
Mhm.
plate, and it's the only position where the ball's moving away from you, right?
mm-hmm.
And you
That's
get to
what
call all these,
That's why I like it. I
yeah,
got
and
no,
you're
Yeah.
every
I'm
pitch.
not in the hot corners. Nothing getting smoked at me. It's gonna come at the same speed, and even if they do hit it and it fouls me off in the face, I wouldn't have had to do anything anyways. Like I couldn't have done anything anyways. It's not my fault.
You're a tough cookie, Lila.
That's right. Well, all right, I got some trivia stuff here. Oh, not trivia, but like some really cool information. So, Carrie, we get like your life and your family is based around baseball, but
Mhm.
you started us off with saying you do some things in films, right?
Yes.
So what is that? What does that mean? Now I know, but I want you to tell our audience, like, what have you done in films?
Well, Coach Aaron, we lived in San Francisco, and my good buddy was a casting director, Kurt Anderson, and he asked me to be in Rocky 2, and I loved the first Rocky, so I got to go to the LA Sports Arena, and I was a reporter at ringside. In fact, I even got lines. They had me interview Adrian, Rocky's wife, after the fight. But if you see the movie Rocky 2, she's at home pregnant, so you know. My lines I learned as an actor that they ended up on the editing floor. But I want to quickly talk about that. Kind of got me sparked into wanting to go into film acting because I got to meet Sylvester Stallone, Carl Weathers, Talia Shire, Burgess Meredith, all the main actors in Rocky, and they were just down to earth people. And I thought, wow, I had put them on such a high pedestal, but talking with them, they were as friendly as anybody from my hometown. So I got into acting, I got into theater, and uh, we're in soap operas like The Young and the Restless. I was in Matlock,
Really?
Hill Street Blues, different films. But one thing I want to share with Coach Aaron and everyone is that I was in a movie called An Eye for an Eye with Chuck Norris. And I really got into martial arts after I got out of high school, and I got my black belt in Tong Soo Do. And my instructor, Luther Reagan, got his black belt from Chuck Norris. So here I'm a third generation of Chuck Norris, and I get to be in a movie with Chuck Norris as an actor and stunt fighter. And he killed me multiple times. The director really liked me, and they put me in different wardrobe and characters. So a lot of with my homies I still see today, they could care less if I ever win an Oscar or an Emmy. All they want to talk about is how I got killed multiple times by Chuck Norris.
Hey, well, if anybody can do it, we know Chuck can. So
That's right.
that's amazing, Carrie.
Yeah.
Now, there's another little caveat to this too, is you have a godfather.
Yes. Yes.
Now, this might listen, audience, you might want to take a break, sit down for this one. Carrie, who's your godfather?
Our godfather, you would probably remember him as Mr. Miyagi or Arnold in Happy Days, but Noriyuki Pat Morita is our godpapa, and we did a documentary called Diamonds in the Rough, and he was our on-camera host, our narrator. He helped me write it, and I
Wow.
would always tag along with him when his hobby was to sing the national anthem, and so a couple times with the Dodgers, a couple games with the Giants, the Arizona Diamondbacks, Sacramento Kings. Pat would sing the national anthem, and you know, I felt very. It was priceless for me to just hang out with him and be with him. And he loved to sing the national anthem. He would tell me, "Yo, man." He would call me Yo Man. I'd call him Dr. Mo. He goes, one question at my high school, because I got to take our documentary to our high school and I screened it. And one of the kids' questions was, why does Mr. Miyagi like to sing the national anthem so often? And so I didn't know the answer to that. I called him in Las Vegas and he says, Yo, man, you tell that kid or tell that principal to tell that kid, that student, that I love our country. I think it's the greatest country in the world. I've been around the world many times with the Karate Kid movies, he did 4 of them. He
Mhm.
goes, "But, I just love singing it. I'm not a great singer, but I could sing the national anthem great." And he goes, "Sometimes great singers mess up the lyrics." He goes, "I won't ever do that." And so as many times I've been with him, that's been a special part of my, time with Pat, and, we lost him years ago, but whenever I
Mhm.
see that documentary, he's right back with us in spirit, and that's what I love about being a filmmaker is that, as an actor or whoever you capture on film, just like today with Coach Aaron and this podcast, years and years later, we'll still be the same age and we'll
That's
be
right.
immortalized, and that's what you get to do. You immortalize the people that you're on camera with. And so I think that's very special and magical that we are able to do that because even long after we're gone, that spirit of us will still be there.
That's what I tell my sons. Listen, even when I'm gone, you can still turn on the podcast and just hear me being silly. So that's just who I am. So
It's-
that is all right. I got a question on that, and then I want you
sure.
guys, if you guys have any final questions, I want you to get those ready for you. Hold on one second. All right. So did you ever have to paint a fence or wax a car for him or anything like that? Was it ever wax on, wax off?
Well, of course, when I had him sign some pictures for me, that's what he put on there, you know, Noriyuki Pat Morita, wax on, wax off.
Awesome.
And, one of the things too, Coach Aaron, that I remember when we did our film, we produced a movie called American Pastime. And I think I sent it to your dad, Miles, Sean, and I'll send it to you via email. And you guys, if I can get your email,
Yeah.
I'll send it to you. But there's one character, our moonshine maker and our gambler, was written for Pat. And unfortunately, 6 months before we started filming, he passed away. But
Mm,
one of the special parts of American Pastime is that, you know, he, that spirit that he had in our film is really the spirit that he had as a person. And, he pumped me in the chest the last time I saw him because he was honored at the Palace and Fine Arts in San Francisco one evening. And he said, "Yo, man, one day you and I are going to work on a film together." Unfortunately, it didn't happen, but I carry that spirit of Pat with me because I know no matter what film project I'm involved with, he'll be there right with me in my heart and in spirit.
there you go. Rest in peace, Mr. Miyagi.
That's
There
right.
we go. Awesome. All right, Lennis, start us off with these last rounds of questions.
So, Carrie, I just have a question. So, when you were younger and you watched these players, the guys, who was some of your heroes?
Mm,
Wow. Well, as a little kid, Willie Mays, was my hero at shortstop. As a shortstop, and you guys can relate. How many shortstop do you see get a high pop up and still do a basket catch? I
that's
did that
right.
because Willie was my hero, and it was an homage to Willie Mays. And I even got to tell him that he came to Grizzly Stadium, our AAA baseball team, and I told him that story. He goes, "Oh, I bet you got in trouble for doing that." I said, "It didn't matter. Willie was my hero." Later in life, there's like, Will Clark. That's why I call our grandson Will the Thrill because
Hmm.
Will Clark was the thrill. He was the original Will the Thrill. And I think from
Okay.
your area, right, Aaron?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. So, those are two that I can think of. And of course, many other players that became, it didn't matter if they were a giant player or not. That's why I love watching the World Series because I got to see players that I never would have seen before, like Brooks Robinson, who was the human vacuum cleaner at third base, and so many players down the road. And I got to take, our kids got to take pictures with Barry Bonds at Pac Bell
Wow.
Ballpark, and that was special. And so there's so many, Linus, but I know you got a bunch of favorite ones too. So they are amazing, and that's why we play the game because they can play at such a high and unbelievable level.
Yeah. Were you upset when Shohei signed with the Dodgers?
Well, I didn't think he was going to sign with the Giants. Indications was, but of course, I would hope that great players again would come to the Giants
Mm,
and help their team. Certainly could use it. Certainly, I'll never forget 2010, 12, and 14. when they won the World Series, because there were times where Coach Aaron, I didn't think they were ever going to win a world championship. But then he won it all the even years in the 2000s. I was a happy camper then, that's for sure.
Yeah,
All those teams and those players were amazing.
for sure, for sure. All right, Miles, what you got?
So Kerry, when did you start playing baseball? How old were you?
Wow. I was probably, we didn't have T-ball in our little town, but probably when I started was with my dad and my uncle playing catch, and then, going out the front door of our house and going down the street, jumping the alley fence and getting to the Little League wooden bleachers, is when I played. So probably seriously when I was about 8 years old, playing Little League. And that's the thing about sports, you guys. Even though, I got 7 decades on me, I can go back to some highlight reel moments I had even in that Sandlot ballpark. And I'm sure you guys will too.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Lila, did I save the best for last?
I think so. This isn't a question. It's more of like a story time that I need, just a shortened story time. So I saw this in your bio. It said you swam from Alcatraz to San Francisco.
I saw that.
Wow.
Now, I was wondering what
What do
you
you
got.
mean?
What were you in Alcatraz? What started that?
Yeah, why? I have so many questions.
Well, thank you, Lila. It started when I was an actor. I was in a TV series with Telly Savalas called Escape from Alcatraz. This was before the movie by Clint Eastwood.
Mhm.
And they allowed us at lunchtime for 45 minutes to stay in one of the cells. And so I and another actor decided that we'll sacrifice our lunch and we'll stay in the actual cell of where the prisoners stayed. And I remember looking out that little square window, and I heard the stories that on a real calm night in San Francisco, on Alcatraz, if there were parties or music going on in the city, the prisoners could hear it. And it would torture them because it's only a mile and a half from the Alcatraz to Aquatic Park. So back, going into the future, my dad used to fish that area a lot for sea bass and fish that Alcatraz Bay underneath the Golden Gate Bridge. Well, towards the end of his life, he got stomach cancer, and they only gave him 6 months. And right at that time, they did the what they call the Shark Fest, the Alcatraz Challenge. And so I've always been a good swimmer. I was on the swim team and with the Fowler Flippers when I was like 8 years old. I was a backstroker, and I kept swimming throughout my life. And even in our pool, I was swimming, you know, 50 laps a day to prepare for Alcatraz. And so I really dedicated that swim to my father. And I did it in 44 minutes. And then you had to get out of the water and go touch the Golden Gate Bridge and back, which was a 10K run. But I'll never forget giving my dad that medal. Told him that I swam this, for you, Dad. This is a tribute to all those days of fishing. And he told me that, no one could ever take away what this means to you to be able to accomplish that, because it wasn't easy. I mean, 55-degree water, when you jump in it's like jumping into needles. And my calves started cramping up. And it was because there's such a powerful current coming from the Pacific in and from the Delta going out, and the 55-degree cold water. And so my calves started cramping up, and a guy on a kayak said, "Swimmer, veer to your right. We spotted a dorsal fin." Well, I was the only one to the right. So I had to, instead of doing 3 strokes, 1 breath, I was doing 8 strokes, 1 breath to catch the pack. And then once I felt my head getting slapped on by their feet, I got inside of them. Because I always remember that theory that you never want to run from a bear, but if you have to, make sure you're not the last person.
That's it.
Yeah.
So
You just got to be faster than one person.
that's right. And with Alcatraz, if that dorsal fin, I knew there wasn't any dolphins in that bay, was next to me, he'd get the person behind me more than myself. So yeah, it was quite an accomplishment to be able to get out. And by the way, Lila, I retired. After that one, I'm not doing
Yeah.
that again.
That would retire me. I don't even, especially running a 10K after that.
I know.
Oh,
But
Well,
you
I
know, the
mean,
10K, Lila, for me, I was so happy to survive
Yeah,
Alcatraz
it's
swim.
probably
That
easy.
was just a joy run. Then
Yeah.
afterwards, with our kids, they were little then, my wife, we went to a seafood restaurant and I ordered shark because I wanted to eat him before he ate me.
there you go.
There you go.
So yeah, I was so happy that I survived it, and yeah, I still treasure that medal.
That is, Kerry, I have to say, I feel like you're one of the most interesting, decorated guests that we've ever had on this show. And
Oh, thank
man,
you, Coach Aaron.
I feel like
appreciate
we could do a part 2, really. So,
it.
but for the sure sake of time, we're going to have to close it up here. But, Kerry, I told you the cereal question was the hardest. But what I really mean is this question usually stumps adults more than it does kids.
Okay.
So, Lila, I'm going to let you set it up. And Kerry, enjoy.
Okay.
All right. It's the bottom of the 9th inning.
Mm-hmm.
You're down by 1. Bases loaded.
Okay.
There's 2 outs. You're coming up to the plate. What's your walk-up song?
Wow, my walk-up song. Man, that's a good one. Probably my walk-up song right now. I have so many, you know. I came from an era of, in our little farm town, we had a KLIP radio station. So R&B, soul, gospel has always stayed with me, but I love every genre of music.
Mm-hmm.
Probably my walk-up song would be that is
It's a hard one.
Yeah, it is, Coach Aaron. But because I have so many great artists, I have to think when I go to the gym, what am I listening to lately that really inspires me? Probably a Prince song, you know, right?
Oh,
I've been listening to a lot of
There you go.
Prince, and I know there's a couple that I listen to that, you know, kind of gets me fired up. But
can't go wrong with Prince.
yeah, you know, again, in my era in the 60s and 70s, I think every genre has, you know, they were the geniuses of that era, and every
Mhm.
genre, whether it's pop, rock, country, soul, you know, in our DNA also, we're very proud that our cousin Paul Bushnell is the bass player for Tim McGraw. So we're
Oh,
very
wow.
much Tim McGraw fans. My kindergarten best friend, Bev Aronyan's son, plays with Mr. Riley. I can't think of his first
Yeah.
name. But
Country music singer?
Country Music Center, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And so, you know, that's kind of in our DNA too. We have a lot of great. One of my best friends, Larry Gittens, was Stevie Wonder's band director and toured with Kool and the Gang.
What?
Hey, but I got a quick
It's just
question for you guys.
so
Yeah.
random.
Coach Aaron,
Yeah.
what are the stripes for?
Well, for me, you know, Miles is the drip king kid. All right. And so are you familiar with the term drip?
Yeah,
These days, Kerry? All
clothes,
right.
be
Yep.
fashionista.
Yeah, you got to look nice. You know,
Right.
sometimes baseball players, they get the sliding mitts and they don't ever use them. They just put it in their back pocket because it looks cool. So, because I'm on the podcast, I have to find my way of having drip. And so the eye black for me is my drip.
Okay, nice.
Yep. Lila, what's your excuse?
I don't know. I just like it. I just got this one. I opened this. They're called plate crates. They're these boxes where you get like baseball gifts and stuff like that. So this is one of the things that came with eye black with this color. So I was like, I'll put that on today.
I got the same
And
kit.
Aaron,
So
I know I put it on before Aaron, but he will always deny it. I know I had it on first. Copycat.
maybe we did it at the same time. Who knows? Who knows? Mine looks better though. I know.
I've had it on all day.
You know, I used to play,
I sleep.
and they'd give
I
us
should've
that
worn
eye
mine.
black for day games.
Uh-huh.
But instead of me putting it under my eye, I would make the most nastiest looking goatee because even to this day, I can't grow a beard. So the only way I could make it look like I had one is to put that goatee under my chin. So that's what I saw you guys. I never got to address it, but I went, hey, all right.
Yeah, of course. All right. Well, look, Kerry, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule and away
Thank you,
from your
guys.
family to hop on here. And hopefully one of these days you and I get a chance to meet because
Yes.
I would love to pick your brain and learn more because the history of the game is just so fascinating. And
Yep.
I hope this episode encourages kids out there to go I know history in school is boring, but go look at the history of baseball, right? You're going to find so many people that will inspire you. And Kerry, I just want to thank you for sharing your stories with us.
Thank you, Coach Aaron. Miles, great always seeing you again. Give your dad and your mom my best. Linus, thank you so much for having me. Lila, a fellow country gal from Taft who's played in Fowler. Thank you for those great questions. It's been a thrill, an honor, and yes, I hope our paths cross soon and we meet in person someday, you guys.
For sure, for sure. All right. Well, Kerry, where can we find you on social media?
Well, you can go to our www.niseibaseball.com, NISEI. And then on Facebook, we're at the Nisei Baseball Research Project.
Okay. I will go on there myself and follow you guys tonight because I
Thank you
want to.
so much.
I want to learn more. You guys learned something tonight? Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I'm glad to
Elaborate.
hear it. Miles, how can we find you on Instagram, buddy?
You can search up the Drip King Kid.
And you will find Miles. The dude is
Yep.
always drippy. Linus, how can we find you on social media?
You can find me on Instagram and TikTok as Lennis the Menace.
Lennis the Menace.
Lennis the Menace.
One of the best nicknames there is. So, and
Pretty
Lila,
good.
how can we find you?
I'm on Instagram, TikTok at Brickwell Bratch with a 4 for the A.
Got it.
Oh.
And same for us. Look, make sure you go follow us. We're on all the social media channels at the Slide Podcast Show. So search it up, YouTube. Hey guys, we hit over 100 and we're at 113,000 views now on our YouTube channel.
Wow.
So
Congratulations.
yeah. And
Nice.
and you know what? 50,000 of it has came in the last 2 weeks. So
Wow.
we figured out some issues with our channel and got it switched, and now we're rolling. So go follow us. And if you have someone that you think deserves to be on this show and they got a great story to tell, send them our way. Awesome. Thank you guys for listening. And Lennis, close us out.
Well then, Kerry, until next time.
We'll catch you on the slide.
Love it.